Schwarzenegger.
Thank you. Thank you.
What a welcome.
This is fantastic, I tell you. And I'm a creation of so many people, from my parents on to my mentors, to so many people that supported me in bodybuilding, so many people that made me successful in the movie business. Because what would we be? How can you be a movie star when no one goes to see your movies? So it's the people that have supported me continuously. And then when you think about the governorship, I mean, how did I become governor? Because 5.8 million people voted for me. So this is why I say I'm a product of all of these millions of people that have helped me from all over the world. I just want to say, you can call me anything. You can call me the Governator, or you can call me the Terminator, or you can call me Schnitzel, or whatever you want, but just don't ever call me a self-made man.
How serious was your rivalry with Sylvester Stallone?
I'm a very competitive person, and I kind of pick people and then kind of turn them into my enemy. It's a stupid thing to do. I recognize that, but the same thing was also in show business. And so Stallone was always kind of ahead of me. And you know, he came out with Rocky, and then I came out with Pumping Iron and with Stay Hungry. And he grossed more than my movie did. Then he did Rocky #2, and then I did Conan. And then all of a sudden, you know, people started talking about his body in Rocky #2, that he got more muscular. And I said, what? You call this muscular? I said, well, what the hell? And so then he came out with Rambo, and he was even more ripped. And so now we started competing. I said, that was it for me. So I said to myself, okay. So I did then Commando, and let me tell you something. I was training now as if I was training for a competition, even though I was out of competition at this point. But I was training like I was in competition because I wanted to make sure that people see a real body rather than just the Stallone body. And so I started so it became a competition of kind of like, who has less body fat? Who is more muscular on the screen? Who kills more people? Who makes more money at the box office? Who is using a bigger gun? So when he used a machine gun, then I got a machine gun that only is used on tanks or on helicopters. And I ran around, boom, 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 you know, and killing people. And then it came a competition like, who kills more people on the screen? So I remember he killed like 50 people, so in Commando I had to kill 70 people. And then who killed them more viciously and more creatively? And so this is how the competition went on. It was insane. It got to the point where it was so competitive that when we started thinking about how can we derail each other, I wanted to get into comedy, and so did Sly. And I felt, of course, you know, that I had really the comedic talent, and he doesn't. So we were offered the script, Mama Don't Shoot, I think it was called, if I'm correct. And the next thing I know is the studio calls me and he says, do you want to do the movie? I said, well, you know, I read the script. It's a shitty script. And then they said, well, if you don't want to do it, then we give it to Sly because he wants to do it. So my agent found out, sure enough, he was snooping around in the project and he was interested in it. So I said, well, call them and I said that I'm really interested in it. And so that made him really interested in it because there was competition. So we were now fighting over who gets the project, but I didn't want it. But it was so bad, the movie, that I said to myself, if I keep saying I want to do it, then he definitely would sign on to do it. And then he would do this shitty movie. And so this is exactly what happened. They called me back and they said, well, I want to have more money. They said, well, forget it, then we're going to give it to Sly. And I said, thank God. And so Sly became partner in Planet Hollywood. And then after that, we've traveled around the world on the same plane and promoted Planet Hollywood restaurants, and we became best friends. He started giving me watches, gold watches for gifts on the plane, and he's a very, very generous guy. And we started talking and started having a great time, talking about family, and he's also into painting, and I'm painting. And so we started, talking about our painting and our artwork together. And he was into loving animals, and so was I. So we talked about that. We talked about our kids and about our wives and all that kind of stuff. So it was really, we became wonderful friends. And today we are best of friends, and we are very supportive. It's really wonderful how this whole thing came around, and now we ended up being really great, great friends.
From James, who was the best film director you worked with, and what did he or she teach you?
One of my favorite directors, who I've done Terminator 1, Terminator 2, and True Lies with. And they all were very, very successful movies. And I also would say Ivan Reitman, who directed, Twins and Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah.
And he was extraordinary, and he gave me the ability to do my first comedy, because in Hollywood no one was going to offer me a comedy movie other than the one I talked about, because people at that point made so much money with my movies, with the action movies, that they said, you're crazy that we're going to go and now take a risk all of a sudden and have you do a comedy. So they said, we want to continue doing action movies because that's where we make the money. And only when I met Ivan Reitman at a dinner, he came up to me and he said, I know you want to get into comedies. I think I could develop something for you, because I've seen during the dinner conversation, I've seen things from you that I've never seen on the screen. And I think that I can really make that work. So with Schwarzenegger, True Lies, and then also starring Jamie Lee Curtis. And Jim Cameron said to me, he says, she's so good in the movie, would you mind to change your contract and let her also be above the title? And I said, absolutely. I love Jamie Lee Curtis. She is my partner in the movie. She ended up doing Schwarzenegger, Jamie Lee Curtis in True Lies. And I think she deserved it. She was a fantastic partner. Paul Verhoeven, who did Total Recall with me.
Yeah.
And he is an extraordinarily smart director. And I had a real wonderful time working with him in Mexico when we did Total Recall. It was so well, written. He was in charge of the ending of the movie and the whole thing. So he was wonderful to work with. And John McTiernan, who did Predator. So there's several of those directors that I worked with that I thought were really fantastic and helped my career. The worst, I think, failure was my failure in my marriage. And so I regret that the most.
Thank you for being so honest.
With none of the movie lines, we knew ahead of time that it's going to be a hit. None of them. Even I'll Be Back.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think back, and I talk about that in the book, when I think back about that Jim Cameron and I were arguing about that stupid line. I mean, I said to him, I'll be back. I said, it sounds weird. I said, it's better machine-like if you say, I will be back. And he said, no, I want you to say, I'll be back. And I said, no, I want to say, I will be back. And this is how I went back and forth until he said, look, who is the goddamn writer here? And I said, you. I said, well, then say, I'll be back. I say, I don't tell you how to act and you don't tell me how to write. And so this is how it was resolved. And then he says, look, I give you 10 takes. Let's do 10 takes and you say 10 different ways. And then we together pick the take that we like the best. And that's what we ended up doing. But we had no idea that this would be a repeated line. Only when the movie came out and people started coming up to me and said, you know, oh, I saw Terminator, you know, say that line, I'll be back. And I said, I'll be back. And they said, no, the way you said it in the movie. The way you said it in the movie. And I said, I'll be back. This guy looked at me and he says, yes. Oh, he repeated the line and he went to his friends and says, you said the line, I'll be back. Oh, this is unbelievable. He had no idea that it would be the most quoted line in movie history. I mean, it's like amazing. I use it now a lot of times in my speeches or when I was campaigning and I was giving a speech and I always would say, turning to the audience, I said, remember, I'll be back. You know, and the people would be screaming and they thought they're voting for the Terminator rather than But I didn't care as long as I got the vote. I think that's how I got a lot of Democrats to vote for me. Because they thought they voted for the Terminator.
What is your next goal?
Well, I think that I will continue doing movies. I will continue doing television shows. I will continue with promoting bodybuilding and having the Arnold Classic Bodybuilding Championships in various different continents all over the world to promote health and fitness. And I will continue being involved in policy issues. I have the USC Schwarzenegger Institute in Los Angeles, where we deal with policy issues, with healthcare issues, education issues, immigration issues, homelessness issues, and so on and so forth. I will participate in all of that. I will continue fighting for a clean environment, fighting to get off fossil fuels and to go into renewable energy. I will be fighting for that. And so I just try to combine all of my talents and all the stuff that I've learned to make this a better world and to help other people become successful and to also be happy. To me, the happiest moment is if I can look out there and I see everyone being able to do the same things that I've done in my life, and to have a joyful life, a happy life, where you can strive towards something, where you're passionate about certain things, and you're willing to struggle and to fight and all that stuff. That will make me happy. So this is why I wrote this book, to give something back to the community and to tell everyone, here's a way how you can be happier. I don't promise you to be a Mr. Olympia or anything like that, or to be a governor, or to be the Prime Minister of England or something like that. But I do promise you, when you read through this book and you work on some of those tools that I'm recommending, that you will be better off in your life, and you will be happier, and you will be more successful. That's the bottom line. I want everyone to be successful. Thank you very much. Thank you. I had a great time. Thank you all for being here today. And I promise you, I'll be back.